So I'm scrolling down my FYP, and then this racist pops up, calling original melanated Americans like myself slaves and wobble, talking about how our people ain't shit and wouldn't have shit without the Chicanos. He can't be serious. He went on to say that the Chicanos are the real indigenous people. The Chicanos are the most ancient people, and everyone needs to respect them, even the Eurasian natives. A whole lot of other fuck shit that we about to get into. Now, Chicano or Chicana is an ethnic identity for Mexican Americans that emerged from the Chicano movement. Chicano was originally a classist and racist slur used toward low-income Mexicans that was reclaimed in the 1940s. Kind of sound like how we did the N-word that y'all refused to stop using. And there are a couple theories of where Chicano originally comes from, but none of them are solid. And this guy was saying like how we wouldn't be shit without the Chicanos, but I think that's projection. Real shit. Because they copy us. We don't copy them like the ancestors did, and they still do today, bro. Let's be all the way 103 with it. Now, it says the Chicano movement drew heavily from the strategies and tactics of the civil rights movement, as both movements aim to achieve equality and address systematic discrimination against minority groups in the United States, using similar methods like protests, boycotts, and legal challenges while focusing on the specific concerns of their respective community. Essentially, the Chicano movement adapted the civil rights movement model to address the unique challenges faced by Mexican Americans. And let me not forget to mention that our Civil Rights Act of 1968 was nicknamed the Indian Civil Rights Act, the Indian Bill of Rights Act, the Fair Housing Act, the Housing Rights Act, Open Housing Act, etc. Right? But why would they call our civil rights, the melanated original American Civil Rights Act, the Indian Bill of Rights? Come on, man. Stop the madness. Now, to me, Mexicans are some of the most racist demographics of people in this country. Now, I know it don't apply to all, but it's a lot, bro. And it's too much. And they know that whether they want to admit it or not. I mean, we can start with how they treat the melanated people of Mexico, where they from. They shit on them people. They treat them horrible. Then they bring that same mentality to the States. You know how the Mexican gangs are unaliving innocent original melanated Americans just because they melanated by large numbers in South Cali. I mean, innocent women, children, and men. Or we can talk about how Mexicans was fighting to be reclassified as white from like the 1930s to the 1950s. I can pause and read this, but it basically saying that they fought to be classified as white because they knew they were mostly of Spanish or Spaniard heritage. How can you be the true indigenous people of this land, man? Cut it out. Or how about blanqueamiento, which is a Latin term that refers to the social, political, and economic practice of whitening a population. That's why they wanted to be classified as white. But all of a sudden, now today, they the real indigenous people. Come on, bro. Cut it the fuck out. Because I ain't going to get into all the trans-Pacific Asian slave trade and a whole bunch of other migrations and invasions that happened in those areas, bro. That was from Eurasian people, whether they were Europeans or Asians. They both invaded those lands, bro, the whole West Coast. But let that shit simmer a little bit, you heard? Or do we want to talk about how when some Mexicans get positions of power, like in banks and shit, they like to discriminate against everybody else that's not Chicano? Mostly against us, but even against other ethnicities. And then on top of all that shit, y'all appropriate our many cultures. We ask y'all to stop saying the N-word, but y'all want to argue why you feel like you can say the N-word. But if we was to respond in slurs back to you, that shit wouldn't be cool, right? Yeah, I don't even play like that, man. I ain't even going, fuck around and find out. Well, let's touch on this fella right here, who's from Mexico, right? His name is Brigida Laura. He forged over 40,000 so-called ancient artifacts that spread across all the Americas, right? All across the world, right? And not only that, it's in fucking museums, it's in all type of collections, all type of shit, man. He got locked up for it, admitted it, basically, and got out by forging another ancient document while he's in the cell. Shit crazy. But he made those phenotypes Eurasian because they wasn't that at the beginning. Those are not the same phenotypes on a lot of these artifacts that you see on the murals or the more ancient, authentic artifacts that show niggas, that show real, original, melanated Americans like myself, man, with locks and all, froze, braids, you name it. Since we talk about antiquity or ancient people, right? Let's talk about what this guy had to say. Carlos Cuervo Marquez. He was born in 1858 to 1930. He was an ethnologist, botanist, military general, and historian. He went on to say, the Negro type is seen in the most ancient Mexican sculpture. The Negroes figure frequently in the most remote traditions of some American pueblos. It's to this race doubtedly belongs to the most ancient skeletons, distinct from the red American race, which he talking about Eurasians, which have been found in various places from Bolivia to Mexico. It is likely that we repeat, America was a Negro continent. He said it is likely that we repeat. He wanted to put emphasis on that shit, that America is a Negro continent. It still is, man. We have the most influential cultures in the Americas still to this day. Even with us being displaced, you know what I mean, off our lands here, robbed of certain knowledge about our history until we had to go look it up for ourselves and shit. You know what I'm saying? So it's still evident in everything that we do. But let me end it here. Peace, love, and power to my people.